All right, welcome everybody to Group A round robin. We have KFC up against Fumo, seed 9 versus seed 17. This is, I believe, the last match that the Aussie team KFC is going to be playing. I think this is going to be a great one, considering so far what we've seen from KFC, 2 tiebreakers. Hoping for another one. We'll see how it goes. But I'm Vordy, and joining alongside me is Mavs. How you going, man?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Good to be here for the first, my first Corsace match of the tournament here, and we've got a giga banger actually coming up. A very, very well-rounded Australian roster. On the side here of KFC ZINGER box, you've got some absolute, like, huge monsters on this team. Where I think the idea behind this, from Vivace, also known as Kevin, was to bring together a lot of the newer and upcoming Australian tournament players, obviously alongside players like Big Snag, also known as Milo Milkshake, who is a little more versed in the tournament scene, as well as Arbusion. But some of these other players, Sayo, AKNZX, also known as CS2 now, JGLF, and O/, very, very good upcoming players for the Australian scene in general. And some absolutely ridiculous tournament performances in the past few weeks, or rather in the past few months. So very excited to see how they perform today. We saw that other match the other day, which was a banger. And I don't know if you want to take us through maybe the other team here.
Yeah, so the other team, Fumo, also has a lot of really big names. You have Hakui Koyori, formerly known as Ryudo. You have Nathan Ram. Like, some of the scores you see on solo from Nathan Ram is absolutely incredible. You have Megumik, really well-versed tournament player as well, and Zeph. I think those four, Hakui Koyori, Nathan Ram, Megumik, Zeph, are going to be like the core four. And you also have Rampax and Konkon Kitsune. All of these names are have been around the tournament scene for probably several years for most of them, so all very experienced. I mean, judging by, so I think we've seen one match from FUUKA in this stage, and they had a really good performance. I think we saw with KFC, they played their match against Blue Pants earlier today, and they played I want to say way better than they did against the 24th seed yesterday, which I believe is Ghoul Mode, where it was very, very close for the seed matchup, but against Blue Pants, they, I think, showed what their potential of the team is. And I think both of these teams are going to be really, really good at this stage, so I think we're in for a banger.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not to mention as well, I think some of these qualifier results we see from both these teams, awfully close on a lot of maps. I mean, Nomod 1, 2, and 3 all coming within 50k margin. Just extremely close. And then a lot of these other maps, coming in a few 100k margins. Really the only notable differences being Hard Rock 1 was, 700,000 team score bonus for KFC ZINGER box, as well as the DT1 being 1.3 million in favor of KFC ZINGER box. Everything else is really just down to maybe if this player just didn't miss weirdly or slider break in that one spot, it could have gone the other way in favor of the other team in those qualifier results. So seed number 9, which is KFC ZINGER box, up against 17 being FUUKA Motor, and yeah, I mean, pretty close all around, I would say. Of course, I think I'm gonna probably give the edge to KFC ZINGER box going into this match, but yeah, like you mentioned, some of these players on the other side here, some players that really stand out to me, players like Megumik, who, I mean, just like an absolute staple for 4WC. I believe Singapore, right?
I think so.
Yes, Singapore.
I'm pretty sure Megumik is like the Singapore carry for 4WC.
Yeah, like absolutely ridiculous carry performances. Some of the biggest carry performances I've seen from him actually in like 4WC. It's just like just ridiculous scores that he's put up in the past couple years in that tournament. And then players like Nathan Ram, who I had the pleasure of playing against in OWC last year, just puts up some ridiculous hidden scores on, your reading maps, just hidden consistency in general, extremely scary on any sort of, unconventional style, especially when there's hidden slaps on top of it. So, extremely scary to go up against. Then you've got players with like just insane skill cap, players like Rampax, players like Zeph even, and Haku Kiori being that player, that Indonesian player, Ryuto. It's just also pretty high skill cap now. So gonna be getting to the new screen here.
Yeah, getting into this is a tiebreaker graphics effect. I think because probably it ended off in the tiebreaker last match. Yeah, but getting into picks and bans. So you know what's interesting about, there was a massive DT1 gap in the qualifiers, but there's quite a stark difference. DT1 in qualies was a weird sort of diff spiky higher BPM aim map. This DT1 a lot more comfortable, and FUUKA Motor has already played it, and they did lose, but they still got like 3.9 million team score, so they can definitely play the map. So I don't think there'll be as big of a DT1 gap from qualifiers. An interesting thing is the Hard Rock 2 situation. So Hard Rock 2, both teams did pretty well. KFC got 8th overall, but FUUKA Motor got 4th overall, and I would say the Hard Rock 2 in this pool is not considerably easier. It's one of the harder maps in the pool, so that's potentially a route FUUKA Motor can go, even though there was a bit of a Hard Rock 1 gap. If their precision is feeling really, really good, I think Hard Rock 2 is a pick they can go for. So maybe as well as a ban from KFC, but I think FUUKA Motor can go for maybe a DT2 ban. I think now we saw KFC had a very good DT2 score, but they're going for Hidden 2 as well. This is also, should have mentioned that the hidden scores overall from KFC a lot stronger. So yeah, banning the Hidden 2, showing respect to, CS2, JGLF, the overall AR8 roster on the team.
Yeah, I think actually undeniably a pretty scary low AR roster for the Australian side of KFC ZINGER Box, where usually I think a lot of people watching this would be maybe confused because Australia has never ever been a competent hidden country, and it just happens to be that some of these recent and up and coming players like O/JGLF, even Sayo is pretty damn solid on it, and AKNZX, who can play absolutely everything, are very, very good at low AR. So, especially I just want to, give shout outs to JGLF being one of the most ridiculous reading players I have ever seen. So yeah, definitely terrifying to go up against players like that. So that's a fair ban from that team there. And it's going to be KFC ZINGER Box to make the next ban. Obviously just thinking on it here, and it is going to be the No Mod 3, and I think this is actually a very fair ban as well. I mean, the difference from qualifiers was 10k, completely minimal, but I think FUUKA Motor actually has some very consistent No Mod 3 players, and I know that's a weird thing to say, but players like Megumik and Nathan Ram are players I wouldn't want to verse on a No Mod 3. I don't know exactly what it is. They're so consistent. I think that's the scary thing. So yeah, I don't think I'd really want to verse players like that on a No Mod 3.
Yeah, 100%. It's one of those skill sets where you might have the potential to FC, but an average of 400k, right? Because it's just, No Mod 3s generally are missable pretty much anywhere. So when you're up against a team who is very consistent, has a really good 4-man for No Mod 3, and you don't have the same thing, you probably want to ban it. And they did play No Mod 3 yesterday and got a very solid team screen, all above 500k and 800 to 700k. So I think notably Haku Kiori and Nathan Ram are the scary ones to look out for on the No Mod 3. But it is going to be KFC's first pick, and they go for DT3. Now, this was a pick I was surprised to not see in their first match, and I'm not sure if they ended up playing it in their second match. This is a brutally hard map, probably one of the highest skill cap maps in the pool, because it's around 190-ish BPM. Tapping, but the flow aim is pretty brutal for that BPM, and I think that's really going to play to the strengths of Sayo and CS2, these really high skill cap DT players, as well as the rest of the team like Arbusion, you have several players who can play a map like
Milo
this, but I'm
Milkshake
really
especially.
excited. Yeah, Milo Milkshake. Yeah, how could I forget? So yeah, I think Milo Milkshake, AK and ZXCS2, Sayo, and probably Arbusion. They're going to be able to play this map well, and I don't think many teams will have a good format for this. So I don't think we've seen KFC play this yet, but I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, it kind of seems like maybe that crossover between, No Mod 2 sort of in that DT slot, that flow Amy sort of DT. Yeah, just kind of like weird. It's like, yeah, I guess you would just say weird to see usually, something like this. So yeah, actually excited to see this one play out. I think there's absolutely potential here for, I'm just going to call them FUMO, I'm assuming that works. I mean,
yeah, KFC FUMO.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, definitely potential. I don't doubt their skill cap. I don't think this team is going to be skill capped on a, in this stage this early in the tournament. But yeah, I'm going to have to give that edge slightly, I think, to KFC ZingerBox going into a map like this.
Yeah. I would honestly say if there's any map at this point to get skill capped on, it might be this one, as it gets into its difficult section. But looks like we have Sayo, Arbusion, Big Snack, O/, no CS2, kind of surprised to see.
Yeah.
And on the side of FUMO, we have Megumik, Rampax, Nathan Ram, and Konkon Kitsune.
Yeah, here we go. Getting into some of these spaced triples. A little bit easy to trip up on if you're not too focused on the map. And yeah, as you can see, some of the flow aim coming up already. Some of these weird stacks going to be catching Konkon off guard, as well as Big Snag. Rampax had a break earlier, and actually everyone on the side of FUMO has found an early miss. But, with the length of this map, which, we're almost a quarter of the way through, hopefully won't make too much of a difference for FUMO, as I assume we're going to be seeing a lot more breaks here in general.
Oh, 100%. I think in the same vein that KFC banned No Mod 3 because they were afraid of the consistency of FUMO on the No Mod 3, this is a type of map in the DT slot, which is the same thing, where it's just really hard to be consistent on some of these patterns. At this BPM, some of these spacings, these like 195 triples, you can see Big Snack struggling, but the rest of KFC is holding on.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking ridiculously comfortable on something like this. And yeah, you can see some of these more flow aimy space streams coming in, kind of that No Mod 2 element I was talking about. Sayo actually finds a break on one of those patterns, but he does so alongside 3 players on the side of FUMO. Megumik, Rampax, and Konkon Kitsune all finding a miss. Arbusion and O/ now the ones to carry the torch through to the finish line for KFC ZingerBox, assuming they can continue to hold. We are already over halfway through the map, and it is very, very squarely in the favor of ZingerBox here. As trudge forward through on this.
That's Nathan Ram gone.
And yep, that's Nathan Ram, the only combo for FUMO gone.
O/ does trade, but it's still Arbusion as the lone FC, a flow aim maestro, holding on through. I mean, the score gap's already over 700k. I think this is pretty much over. Just a show to see if our boy can hold on through. This would be a fantastic FC.
Yeah, this is crazy stuff. And I mean, that's not to discredit the rest of the scores here. I mean, every single player on the side of KFC ZingerBox, aside from Big Snag, is actually outscoring everyone on FUMO. It is just Nathan Ram, the only one making that slight difference, as he's about 20k above Big Snag here.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, this
ending
is just a monumental diff. Yeah, Arbusion finding the break on the FC. And what are some of these patterns, man?
Yeah.
Jesus, some of these like weird like square streams and weird angles that just looks very, very brutal to flow in.
Yeah, I mean, a great scoreline from KFC. I wonder if they held this pick in their back pocket, because, I mean, with a 2.6 million team score on a map this difficult, I'm very surprised we didn't see this picked earlier. Nice S rank from our boy. Almost 500k from the rest of the team. Nathan Ram with a solid score on the side of FUMA, but yeah, just, it's tough. It's tough to beat that. It's very rare you find a team at this stage who is really comfortable as a 4-man on a map like this.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. I think what you said really comes to light there, with like other teams not having, really a 4-man roster to combat a team like KFC ZingerBox on a map like that. Yeah, yeah, just, aside from probably, the highest seeded teams in the tournament,
Yeah,
few of them
yeah.
probably having some very, very strong foremans on a map like that. But yeah, I mean, definitely KFC, probably one of the better teams in the tournament on something like that. And they are going to be proving it there with a huge team performance and just a massive score gap as well. So yeah, that leads us into Fumo's first pick, and actually fairly curious what they might go for here. Obviously, they've banned out the hidden, so it's probably not something they're going to be wanting to go into. And it is going to be the hard rock, which I think, as you mentioned, going for that precision and sort of hard rock angle in this match, I think
Yeah,
it probably is a good option for them.
I'm surprised to see the Hard Rock 1 specifically. I think Hard Rock 2 was a bigger difference in qualities, but at the same time, this Hard Rock 1 has been played in both of KFC's matches, and they haven't done the best on it. They haven't done as well as you would expect. Because it's happened across 2 matches, potentially Fumo saying, okay, we can probably outscore both of those plays if they do a similar one. This should be a win. And then that also can lead them into the Hard Rock 2, which is maybe even more favored. So I think this is still a very solid pick. I mean, this is a 250 BPM aim heavy map. It's 250 BPM, but not much 1/4 to speak of. So you can single tap it if you want. You can ult it. It's comfy either way. I've been surprised.
Oh, he's returned.
Returned. Welcome
All
back.
right. As I was saying, yeah, 250 BPM. So are we still live? I think we're good. Yes, all good. 250 BPM. So pretty high demand for the single tap speed here, kind of along similar to, I would say, some DT1s if you
Yep.
are going to be opting for that single tap. But I'm sure a large majority of these players in this lobby are probably going to be fairly comfortable alternating a map like this. Something that's not too complex all round. It is kind of just like an aim consistency map at the end of the day, just a little bit more uncomfortable in weird patterns, not something as generic as your normal 101. So we are going to be getting into it though, and it is going to be Sayo, Big Snag, O/, and CS2 coming in here for KFC Zinger Box, and they are going to be going up against Nathan Ram, Rampax, Haku Kiori, also known as Ryuto, and Konkon Kitsune.
Yeah, it's funny this map. I'm so used to Hard Rock 1s, and that's 2 drops already on the side of Fumo. But I'm so used to Hard Rock 1s being such a comfy BPM. I was shocked when I was like, am I running out of single tap on this map? And it was just 250,
Yeah.
but Nathan Ram also finding a break, so does O/. So now it's 2 to 1. A lot more breaks than I would expect. This is one of those maps where I think if you had no nerves, if you were warm for something like this, these players would FC like most of the time, right? But this is, I think, high BPM Hard Rock, really, really rough on nerves specifically. So you can see Nathan Ram finding several breaks, and now it's just Rampax to stave off these 2 big combos. But now 1 big combo as CS2 drops. It's now only Sayo and Rampax with FCs. And the supporting combos right now are pretty dead even. So it's anybody's pick right now.
Yeah, anybody's game. I mean, like, the only difference really is, I'd say, maybe 100 total combo advantage here for Fumo moving into this solo section as they finally get through it there. And yeah, about 100 combo advantage. So the score lead is slowly going to make its way over, but not quickly by any means. Not to mention the slightly lower accuracies on a few of the players for Fumo, probably offsetting that combo lead.
Look at this score lead. It's just frozen at 100k. It's just like, it's not moving. The scores are identical. Any miss from any team will have that start shifting, but right now it's pretty much dead even on combos.
That's that combo lead being offset by the AC lead that KFC Zinger Box has managed to accumulate. And yeah, any single miss is going to start to move that score bar over towards the favored side. The nerves are building, and it's going to be Konkon, the one to find the miss for Fumo, and that is going to favor the Australians. As that score bar now slowly creeps its way as we get into arguably a little bit of, I was going to say free combo, but You get some
And
of these
Rampax
weird
dropping.
spacing.
That was the lone
some of these weird
FC on
spacing
FUUKA.
sections.
Now it's
That's
a
brutal.
massive advantage to KFC as that FC from Rampax is gone and everybody on the side of KFC has recovered. Sayo does trade Rampax's miss, but it's still KFC favored. It's basically 3 big combos to 2 now, and we're almost done. If we see a collateral multi-miss on the side of KFC, this could swing back, but I just don't think so. This will likely be their first breakpoint of the match.
Yeah, it would have to be a collateral sniper shot at this point to hit multiple players on the side of ZINGER for this one to go down, and it's not going to happen. That is going to be KFC ZINGER taking the first break point of the match with a 440,000 score lead on the opponent's pick. And that is going to be pretty devastating moving forward in what is only a BO9 in this round robin.
Yeah, break points when it's best of 9 first to 5. Really, really rough, especially early on into a match. And I think KFC, that was their best performance on the map. It's the 3rd time they've played it, and it was their highest score. I think getting roughly a very similar score to FUUMO in the last match that they played Hard Rock 1, potentially a slight underperformance from FUUMO. KFC maybe now finally gotten into the groove of playing the map, and now they're up 2-0 going into their second pick. And I imagine at this point, maybe staying on the DT route potentially. Maybe DT2 could go free mod 1 if you're confident in the speed roster, and I do think the speed team for KFC is really solid, but potentially so is FUUMO's.
Yeah, I think DT2 would be an interesting pivot here. I think they could possibly opt for that free mod 1 as well. I'm not too sure where else they may decide to actually go. I think staying away from that Hard Rock 2 is probably a good idea. I think that is still a solid pick for FUUMO, even though they lost the Hard Rock 1. Hidden, I suppose, is a decent option. They could go into this Hidden 1. It's not very comfortable, and KFC have some very comfortable Hidden players on their side. So it would be interesting to see them opt for something like that. But it is going to be the DT2, the safe and obvious pick, I would say, for them after winning that DT3 so convincingly. Stay in the DT pool. Go for the map that's a little more uncomfortable. Don't go for that generic DT1. And I think this one makes sense for the most part.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. You mentioned at the beginning of this match that this roster is much more hidden inclined than Australia OWC generally has been. And that is true, but despite that, the team is still just a really good speed team. It's like no matter what, the new blood of Australia might be good at hidden. They're probably good at speed though as well. So still sticking to the traditional Australian speed playing. Double time 2. This is good stamina map. We saw this being played earlier today, and I think it was a 3-way with 500k backing combo, which absolutely flattened the other team. So if they do a similar performance to that, I think it's going to go very well for them.
Yeah, and as far as the map goes, kind of flow aimy as well. So I guess similar in regards to DT3, just in that manner, with a little bit of flow aim in there and a bit finger control-y as well. So yeah, actually, I would say something that's not too far off the beating path of something like DT3. Of course, very different in its own right, but yeah, I think this would be a safe pick for them just in general, almost as safe as something like DT3, but I don't think it's completely out of the question for FUUMO to breakpoint on something like this, a map that's not going to be as difficult or as uncomfortable as DT3 is. So we are going to have to see as we get into the map here. And it is going to be Sayo, Big Snag, O/, and CS2 for KFC going up against Nathan Ram, Rampax, Zeph, and Concon.
Yeah, and we do see Zeph coming in. I think Zeph being a very strong tapping player on the side of FUUMO. See early breaks though from Rampax and Nathan Ram. Meanwhile, KFC doing fine in the intro. Pretty sure this is the exact same roster KFC had earlier, and it makes sense considering their performance.
Yeah, and as you already see some of these finger control elements coming in early. We are going to be seeing a couple, well, just the miss here from Big Snag on the board. Having an early miss from Rampax, but very, very early in the map. And everyone else holding onto combos fairly comfortably here.
I can almost promise you, if this map was AR10, Big Snag would be on an SS.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
it's for sure. Getting into the first real difficult section, everybody doing pretty well so far. Konkon Kitsune missing on that big horizontal stream.
Yeah, we can sort of see the much higher stamina requirement on a map like this in comparison to something like DT3, but we've still got some of that finger control and flow aim, but obviously not as flowy as that DT3. But yeah, some of this stamina, definitely a lot more stamina intensive on the DT2 here, and yeah, we do see it does catch Konkon off guard, as well as that 93% coming through for Konkon. Potentially not the most comfortable fourth for them, but it seems like they do have 3 very strong and comfortable players on a map like this who are matching the accuracy of the other 4 players on KFC. So it really just is Konkon who just doesn't seem as comfortable. Yeah, CS did find a miss there.
And with that CS2 miss, it is now a lot closer, but Zeph breaking.
The stack! The stack catches Zeph off guard. I think he over-tapped it.
Very unfortunate. There definitely was a very solid chance here, but it's still very close. I think now Konkon Kitsune finding some act recovery, but Rampax does find a break. It's now only Nathan Ram on a combo. Meanwhile, Sayo, O-Slash still holding an FC. Big Snag recovering from that early miss. It's now going to start flying towards KFC as we get through this last quarter. You know, I think one thing to mention, now with Corsace teams being 6 players and needing to field 4, and Nathan Ram missing that pretty much seals the deal on this pick. But so difficult to find a good 4-man for every map when you only have 6 in your team. But Sayo and Big Snag do find breaks, but I think the score lead is already flung to the other side. O-Slash as the totally real 4K ranked player, beating out all of these 3-digit speed mains on the speed pick. This is his second time seeing this map.
Why is he ranked 4,000? Why is he ranked 4,000? This guy is barely eligible to play OWC, by the way. Like, he's barely in the rank range, and he just does this against OWC players. Like high 3 digits. Like, some of these players on Fumo being, you know, close to that rank 100, close to 2-digit, and this guy is just ranked 4K, and he just does this casually. FC's it again. Like, why can he play every skill set? You see him play some weird gimmick, and you're like, you see him play weird gimmick stuff really well, and you're like, oh wow, so this guy's like a low rank player who's like really good at, you know, things that aren't mechanics, and then you just see him play any sort of mechanics or any sort of speed, and he just still beats 3 digits on it. It just makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah,
it's just crazy.
Such is the world of rank. But yeah, very convincing DT2. Not as convincing as their earlier play, but still more than enough with that FC from O-Slash to take the pick. Now up 3-0, and I mean, it's already 2 picks away from the match ending. And going into Fumo's next pick, go for Nomod 5. Now this one makes sense just because Blue Pants picked this map against KFC earlier today, and the Australian boys not very comfortable. I think nobody getting 500k or above. Everyone around that mid 300k scoreline. So this is potentially one of their biggest weaknesses in the pool. And I think with players like some of the players like Nathan Ram, Hakui Kiori, you know, Megumik, they will just pop off on a map like this. You know, polyrhythm, gimmicky, no mod.
Yeah, and I think a player like JGLF is someone who could absolutely shred something like this, perhaps not having the most, you know, amazing performance earlier when playing it, but wouldn't be surprised if he was to come in here and put up a banger score on something like this time around. And then, you know, someone like O-Slash as well, who can put up monumental scores on a map like this. But yeah, I think in general, not a team for KFC that is very comfortable on things like polyrhythm. I would say all round, maybe not as comfortable. So this map actually does make a lot of sense. I definitely do favor Fumo going into this pick. You know, you got some of these players on their side that I think would be very, very good on a sort of polyrhythm style like this. We'll have to see. Very weird and uncomfortable, I would say, for the most part as well. It's just something that's not, you know, most players aren't going to be able to play unless you are playing maps like this in solo or in other tournaments. So
Yeah, it's a very difficult skill set to just accidentally be good at. It generally takes some dedicated time playing these kinds of maps, and most players just don't do that. So you find very few players who are really comfortable in these types of maps. Getting into it, we have Sayo, JGLF, Arbusion, and O/Slash for KFC, and Nathan Ram, Megumix, Zeph, and Hakuei Kyori for the side of FUUMO. There's gonna be some early breaks from O/Slash and Sayo in the intro. You can see the circle size makes this all the more brutal.
It's just such a typical song for like a map like this. Yeah, like I listened to that first 2 seconds of the map and I could have told you this map would be just ridiculous. Just instantly I could just tell you it would be. But yeah, getting into it here, some of these ridiculously weird flow aimy patterns and angles here. Not to mention it's on AR9, which just makes it all the more uncomfortable. Nathan Ram actually finding a break, Megumix finding one not too long ago as well. But a few other large combos up on the board now. Some other misses, but nothing too
that's every FC gone from FUUMO, I think. O/Slash and Sayo do break, but it's now JGLF and Arboy on the lone FCs.
Some of these... Yeah, what the hell is this? Okay, yeah, this was originally going to be AR 8.5, by the way.
Oh, no.
And it was going to be AR 8.5, and it is going to be coming in at AR 9 instead. This would have been just utterly ridiculous on 8.5. But anyway, speaking of utterly ridiculous, JGLF, as I said, the only one with any sort of combo right now in the lobby. Well, in saying that, Megumix does have a pretty large combo, but yeah, JGLF holding the FC on a map like this is pretty ludicrous.
Yeah, I do think you were completely right in saying JGLF, his potential on a map like this. Small circles, low AR is a really weird gimmick, and he's just really good at this kind of stuff. Megumix is trailing behind, though, with a 500 combo, so it's up to JGLF to hold this through. The rest of KFC has recovered on those 300 combos, staving off Nathan Ram and Zeph, but it's really down to can JGLF hold this gargantuan combo, or does Megumix clutch up and pass him?
This map is
what is that?
That is brutal, man. Megumix and JGLF both holding the large combos for their teams. Sayo finds a drop, and that is going to be combated now from the large combo that Nathan Ram has built up. But Arbusion is there. He's got the support for JGLF that he needs, and the combos are about even, I think.
Yeah, I would say
about 1,600 total, and they have about 1,600 total, both teams here, excluding the small combos, of course.
Yeah.
So this is actually going to be all on the shoulders of JGLF and Megumix here for their teams, respectively. We will have to see.
Both of these players are holding this deep into the map. JGLF still on a ridiculous FC run, an eighth of the map left.
This is just the JGLF difference. The guy you put in your team specifically for maps like this. He just, because he practices so much and just has this mindset where he can practice maps forever and not mind block. You want him on your team for maps like this in the pool as we get into that sort of more polyrhythm section here with the triples coming in.
And does he
hitting it? Oh my god, he FCs it, dude. Okay.
Going from a low 300k earlier today to an FC carrying this pick for his team, as well as a great recovery from Arbusion at that 600k, staving off the 700 and 500k from Megumix and Nathan Ram. Absolutely incredible performance from JGLF on this pick. Wow.
Yeah. That was incredible, and you got to give props as well, I think, to the rest of KFC, especially Arbusion putting up a really nice supporting score there, but also just solid scores all around. Nothing lower than 400k, but you can see on the side of FUUMO had a couple players struggling a bit more in a map like this. Not to blame them at all, but Zeph and Hakuei Kyori finding some struggles there and about 330k or less, and that kind of team difference, I think, definitely just made the difference for KFC alongside that huge FC for JGLF. But, very respectable score as well coming out from Megumix. Just wasn't quite enough to combat that team difference, I think, on the map. And I think maybe a slightly unexpected breakpoint. I got to give props to JGLF, I think, for making that one happen, making that one possible. Yeah, incredible improvement on their previous score, if I'm not mistaken.
Insane. It's night and day from their earlier team run as a whole, as a team. I think
Yeah.
getting close to maybe doubling their score from their earlier playthrough. So KFC right now, all cylinders are firing, and now it's 4-0 match point as they go into their third pick.
I just think KFC playing better than they have all tournament so far. Like this is just they're just playing so damn well so far. Like all their team scores have just been pretty incredible. And they are going to be picking No Mod 1, which is interesting.
This is interesting because I don't think this is a great pick, and maybe they know that. I'm not sure. This is something I would expect Fumo to actually pick, considering No Mod 1 was one of the few categories that they got outperformed in quals. However, saying that, the No Mod 1 in quals was a much more conventional, comfy No Mod 1. I want to say like higher AR, higher BPM.
Yeah.
This is 190 AR9, and that makes it more reading focused, more like a traditional hidden one. And because of that, maybe KFC thinking they have a lowish AR reading edge, because I think a lot of players who are normally good at No Mod 1s are going to find the density of this map and some of the patterning very uncomfortable to get big combos on. But it's still something I think Fumo will be able to play pretty well. Surprised we saw this over something like Free Mod 1.
Yeah, I'd agree with you entirely. I think, yeah, like you said, it being more of a hidden one style of what we're used to seeing is very fair to say. This is usually something you'd see hidden slapped on. It's not your typical No Mod 1. It's got some weird, awkward, geometric patterning and things of the sort. Of course, that AR9 as well is going to just make this feel very weird and feel not like a No Mod 1 whatsoever. So, yeah, I think the AR9, I mean, it is fair, Fumo banning out the low AR and KFC just feeling like maybe they're more comfortable on lower approach rates, more awkward maps. As we can see, I mean, I was going to say like that No Mod 5, if that No Mod 5 was to tell us anything, but, I don't know if that's the best example. I think they were probably going into that expecting to lose it. But No Mod 1, of course, isn't going to really be anything similar whatsoever to that No Mod 5. And we are going to be getting into the map here. Saya O/CS2 JGLF, Nathan Ram, Megamick, Rampax, and Haku Kayori going into this one.
I think potentially Sayo and Megamick both with very, very early misses. It's not going to matter, but just funny to see having on both sides. But you can already see some low accuracies like out of the gate, which normally No Mod 1 is like, 99% plus accuracy territory, right? But this AR, this density, it's weird to get good ac on. We see Megamick and Sayo finding some early breaks.
Yeah, a couple early breaks in here, but another player I'd be very terrified of on a map like this is actually going to be JGLF again. It's just that AR9 kind of comfort he has and he possesses, and he just brings to the lobby. Not to mention extremely good No Mod 1 player just in general, and very comfortable on lower ARs. So something like this is going to feel like butter for him. But that's not to discredit any of these players for Fumo as well. Some of these players extremely comfortable on these lower approach rates as well. Nathan Ram, Megamick, very, very comfortable and consistent players on your AR9s. So we'll have to see. CS2 finds a break as we push into the first Ki here. Sayo starting to build up that recovery combo. It is just going to be the two-way FC so far for KFC, O/XJGLF, that 4WC duo. And going up against a three-way from Fumo, as well as the near FC from Megamix. So actually, pretty square advantage here for Fumo.
Yeah, Fumo is going to have that lead with that drop from CS2. And I think, as you mentioned, JGLF on this map, I was very surprised not to see JGLF in the No Mod 1 in their first match. And I think the team did acknowledge that he probably should have been in. Just because it's rare you have this kind of No Mod 1, and JGLF happens to be good at both of these skill sets needed. But right now, the score lead is going to slowly shift towards Fumo as they're holding a very close to a four-way through the halfway point. But I was going to say misses right now would be catastrophic. And Nathan Ram and Haku Kayori finding the breaks. It's going to be detrimental for them. It's the worst place to miss in the map. And now CS2 does find a break, but that's the smallest combo on the side of KFC. O/Slash and JG left still have 2 FCs to the 1 of Rampax, and Sayo matching Megamic. It's now going to start shifting to KFC.
Yeah, Haku Kiori finding a break on that slow stack, man. So brutal. Nathan Ram breaking right after on a pretty fair jump, kind of a cross-screen square. But that miss from Haku Kiori could be detrimental. Might spell defeat for them as, yeah, KFC are going to have a pretty big advantage now. They've got a whole extra combo on their side, almost an FC from Sayo.
That drop
going
from
into this
Megamic.
ending. Yeah, Megamic probably going to spell disaster here for Fumo, as the only combo to speak of is going to be Rampax.
And
Yeah,
now
this is
it's
just-
on the 4 digits of the KFC roster to miss as the only 2 FCs on the team, but they are just not letting go. O/Slash on 99%, so is Sai, but O/Slash on the FC. JGLF holding as well. I was gonna say it was still very, very close. Any drop from KFC could have had it swing the other way, but that drop from Megamic. We have to see most likely a double break from KFC. Now with that break from Rampax, it is pretty much over. It would take catastrophe to KFC to lose this pick at this point. And they're on their way to 5-0 after going to tiebreaker twice in their first 2 matches. I think this might be the best match they have played so far, getting better every single time they've played, and now they're going for the 5-0 against a very strong team.
At 4 digits, by the way, the only 2 4 digits in this entire lobby, and a 4K ranked player. And yeah, they're just like diffing just lobbies like this. I don't get it, man. I mean, 2 of the highest match costs I think we're going to see, actually, is going to be from these 2 players in this match. JGLF came in for 2 maps, and he FC'd both. So, pretty ridiculous performance there from KFC. That is a very, very good team score of almost 3.2 million. And hey, not a bad team score from Fumo either. Everyone getting around that 500 to 600k mark, and they still put up 2.41 million almost, but it's just not enough to take down KFC Zinger Box, seed number 9, who are going to be going through undefeated, I believe.
Undefeated in the round robin stage. You know, I think there was predictions earlier that KFC would go 3-0. And that first match, KFC Zinger Box up against Ghoul Mode, 9th seed versus 24th seed, ended up being super duper close. Went to tiebreaker, narrowly won. There was a lot of, I think, questions like, is this team as good as everybody thought? They played much better against Blue Pants, and today just really, really showing up, showing why they're seed 9th. And I'm really, really excited to see how they perform in the next knockout stage. But I think Fumo now 1-1, so still on good pace to get out of the groups. So good luck to them in their future match. But GG's to KFC Zinger Box, really, really well done. I think really showing what they're capable of.